Live at ISC West, we are in the Hanwha booth and looking at their new solution OnCloud, and I'm joined by Jonathan. Jonathan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. So OnCloud, tell us more about it. I know it's a new solution you guys are presenting here, so we need to learn everything.
Sure, yeah. So we'll launch in June. It's 100% direct to cloud at launch. We will have an SD card, so all of our cameras have an SD card slot. We'll leverage that in case there's a network outage. We'll do kind of like a network failover, start recording to the SD card, comes back online, you do a fail back and start trickling back up to the cloud. One of the great things about Hanwha is our huge portfolio, right? So at launch, we'll have around 150 cameras that are supported out of the gate with this product. That number only goes up, obviously. Also, we're going to have a gateway bridge. We're calling it the CGA 1610, I believe, Cloud Gateway Appliance. So if you have ONVIF cameras, you can bring those in as well. Obviously, Hanwha's open. We're all about ONVIF. We have a lot of partners, whether it's VMS, cameras, working with everybody, right? We play well with others. So that device will be able to bring in either cameras that aren't supported as direct to cloud, so maybe they're older or not as powerful. We can bring in Hanwha cameras as well as third-party cameras.
So you can reuse a current installation and bring it on the OnCloud.
Exactly, yeah. Some people have cameras that are very specialized, or maybe they just purchased them and so they're not ready to swap it out and put in a P-series camera. So they'll be able to bring those in.
And that's a nice solution from Hanwha, as always, to be able to integrate everyone together.
Yeah, and we don't have pricing because we're going to launch in June, but with Hanwha it's going to be cost competitive.
All right, now let's jump into technical details. What are we seeing here and how does it work?
Yeah, so here we're seeing, you first log in, you're going to get a camera list. What we tried to do is take kind of the more on-prem legacy device tree that a lot of people are used to. We didn't want to repeat that because when you do a device tree, you're really limited to kind of this space and you're limited on the information that you can provide. So we kind of expanded on that and tried to do a hybrid where those people might find it familiar, but also people that are new to it will be able to see, okay, I can see the location, the area, the status of the camera before I even click on anything.
Yeah, it reminds me of a little bit of access control management platform where you have all the access on the screen and all the information. So.
Sure, yeah, so it's like, why not make use of the real estate, right? So you'll log in, you'll get that. Here's where you have all your saved views. So you can see there's little boxes here. So I can click on any of these and simply drag them over and create a new view.
Okay.
I can also just click on, maybe I have a specific camera that I like. Now all these are just pulling in all your events. So if you're familiar with some like the home consumer products, you log in, you see all the things that happened recently. So that's what you're getting here. So the idea is a lot of people that are using cloud products, they're doing it in addition to their full-time job. So it's not a casino operator where they're in front of their 12 hours a day and they're an expert on it. It could be a teacher, but they took on that responsibility. So we wanted to make it to where they walk in front of it. You saw with one click, I can see events that happened recently. I get a live view. I have some historical recorded video. Maybe something happened here. Maybe someone propped this door open. Maybe they weren't supposed to be in there. So I'm going to kind of highlight that region.
I like the interface and how user-friendly it is. Like you said, it might be a teacher, so now, search by face with the little icon right there.
Yeah, we tried to make it kind of intuitive, right? And again, this is using the analytics from the camera. That's something that a lot of the more technical SIs have been asking about, is where do the analytics live? Are we, do they have to buy a big piece of hardware to get the analytics processing? It's happening at the edge, which is the best place for it because it scales well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we pick up all that metadata. I'm just going to apply it and say, okay, I'm looking for a person. And so I'll just pick the top result here as an example. And I can see this guy with the hoodie walking in there.
Yeah, just from the head with a hoodie, we already know it's a person.
Right.
Pretty good. So with this, you can integrate. How many cameras can you have on the OnCloud video surveillance?
That's the nice part. So, you know, when you're dealing with on-prem, there's very real hard limits on how many cameras can be added to one system without either replicating the hardware or exceeding, you know, maybe a specialized database that system uses. With the cloud, it's literally infinite. So the restrictions that you would have would be, you know, today we can pull up 12 cameras at a time. Obviously you're using the web browser, so it might get a little heavy if you go beyond that. But you can also have multiple views, and that's typically based on your role. You might come in and say, okay, I'm going to pull up this specific view, review this area, see if anything happened overnight that I need to look out for, and then go back to my job, right? Another way to do it, so that was kind of the single camera view. We also have events. And again, this is just picking up, you get the icons here, people, vehicles, anything that the cameras can detect, you can search for.
And again, it's all around the world that we're seeing right now, right?
These ones are all around the US actually, you know, just to be transparent. Let's see if this one's back online. Yeah. So if I want to say, you know, maybe at this location, let's see if we can get any results. Oh, it was offline. That's why we're not getting anything. So let's go back.
I also like, as you mentioned on the sidebar here, like the small details, again, vehicle type. You have different vehicle type that you can do with the analytics. So showing car, bicycle, buses, and even the color code right there that is really easy to use.
Yeah, and so all that's just coming from the camera, and we just kind of collect it. Real quick, you could say if someone recorded that, hey, a white car came in, did something, it's basically a filter and you can see that. So from there, let's say this is part of our evidence. We want to click that and you can see it brings us up into that same view. And if I want, if you're familiar, you know, with kind of how it is on your cell phone, right? You want to edit a video, you can select a start and an end point. I can save that and I can say this is the white truck. I'm going to create that clip. All it's doing, since this video is already stored in the cloud, is kind of segmenting that out and saying that's evidence. And then
oh, wow.
I got a notification. We have a mobile app for iOS and Android. So it says, okay, that clip is now ready to watch. So we can go in there and there's the evidence. I can add notes to it. You saw me put in white truck.
Yes.
I can share that. I can share it both internal to the platform as well as external. So maybe I need to send it to law enforcement and they're not a user, but I can send it to their email address. I can also time that out. So I could say you can have access for 1 hour, 4 hours, a day.
Okay.
Maybe I send it to someone I shouldn't have. I can also go in there and revoke access. And then the way we do this is we say, okay, you have all your camera streams. You saw me segment something out and say this is a clip. The clips then go into an incident bucket, and that's kind of your investigation.
And all of this, so we're seeing right now it's happening on a server, but you're saying also on a mobile application that would be available?
The mobile app does pretty much everything that you're seeing here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, being user-friendly for people that are more used to being on their phone.
Everyone's used to it. Everyone's so busy these days, right? It seems like, I don't know, in the past couple of years, everyone's doing 3 people's jobs, right? So, and again, like I described, they might have a full-time job, but this is in addition to it. So maybe they get notified that a camera went offline. Maybe we set up a rule crossing where no one's supposed to be in an area and the alert comes through. And so now they know they can act on it or maybe radio someone else to act on it. While we were talking, I added this to an incident. So it was just a simple checkbox. So if I go into incidents, and I think that was just my test incident. You get all your details, you can set the location, you can tag it so that it makes it easier to search.
So it's like if you're creating a case, right? Either for insurance or like you mentioned in police reports, so you're building a folder to send the complete information.
Exactly, and this is one of the things that we're doing that's relatively unique is these are all the clips that we pulled throughout the week as we're testing things out and demoing it. But you can also upload mixed media, and that's something not everyone's doing. So you might have a system where you fill out an incident report. A lot of people are paying for a separate system to do that. You can do it here just through evidence management. So I can upload a PDF. maybe something happened and I recorded it on my cell phone. I can actually upload that cell phone video and make that part of the case. So it can bring in things that aren't native to OnCloud.
So it just helps build up the case and making it more solid. Like you have more evidence, like you mentioned, from your phone, a PDF file, a document, so it can be also in writing. As we know, with police reports, sometimes right after the incident, you have to write down the information, and now you can build your case right there.
Yeah, we've had a lot of excitement just around this part of the product in particular. So it's always exciting to see, because people are paying for separate software just to do this piece of it.
Yeah.
The other thing we can show is analytics. Typically with analytics, we're talking about people and vehicles. In this case, we're talking about more statistics. So we can see camera availability. If there's a camera that's unavailable, we can see why is that happening? Maybe I need to proactively solve that before an incident happens. And then I realized that the camera wasn't online.
So it's kind of a health environment to see if everything is
yeah.
right.
And again, you can pull up those same things through the mobile app. You also have notifications like we were just talking about. So it could be a notification. You might have seen the Google Chrome pop-up happen when I created the clip. You can get those same notifications through email or through the mobile app. It would pop up on your watch as well.
And I can see how people that will be monitoring their video surveillance solution, it's user-friendly, right?
And that's a great lead-in. So when we talk about monitoring, we built the product with the channel in mind, with the SIs in mind. And so there's multiple views. So in this case, we've been demoing kind of the end user experience. But that end user is going to work with an SI, right? They're always going to work with a systems integrator. What we wanted to do is remind that end user who they're working with. So no one else will have access to the platform by default. That's done for security. But you can invite that SI into your platform. So the SI will log in. They'll have a list of all their customers through the same platform. When they click on a customer name, this same view that the end user is seeing is what the SI will see. So they won't have access to all of the recorded video and the event search, but they're able to see device health, all of the statistics, obviously everything you see on the screen, managing users and locations. As you go to configure a site, you'll be able to see that things are online, adjust the video settings. If you've ever used our cameras, you know there's probably 500 different knobs you can turn. And what we tried to do was abstract the most common ones and put those into this more simple user interface.
And as I've seen also, so right now there are 37 cameras on this specific cloud solution.
Right.
And they're not all Hanwha cameras again. They can be integrated just using the gateway.
Correct.
And it's for the integrators, because when you retake, for example, a new building and now you want to have access to documentation, maybe the camera password to be able to integrate new products, this kind of solves this solution. It's always accessible and you can maintain it as you go on. And you can never lose a loose file, a paper clip or something that...
Exactly. And then the system will grow with you. So we're just taking those Hanwha cameras. You might already own them today, and we're using that open platform and just adding an application. So it's not a specialized SKU where the camera only does this. We're just adding functionality onto our cameras that we already have. I mentioned when we started that we're doing 100% direct to cloud. We do have the SD card for failover. For people that are more bandwidth sensitive, you can also select to record only events. So today it's wide open. As I was demoing, you probably saw quite a few instances of just vehicle, right? It's not necessarily an event, it's just saying it's seen a vehicle.
Yeah.
If we were to set up something like when a vehicle enters this area, I want that to be my event. And so you can select to only record those. So you can imagine bandwidth-wise, that's gonna drop dramatically.
Yeah.
You can also cap off your streaming. We've had a lot of interest where people have maybe remote monitoring trucks or maybe remote locations with cell. And so they have to know that they can cap that, because in a lot of those locations, it's not just that you might lose video if you exceed it, but you might lose other critical monitoring services that are using that same cell as well. So I think this is an important feature.
And about record-only events, do you know the time of the playback that it will record for the event? So let's say a vehicle come on a premise, how long of a clip do you get?
That's actually a really good question. I need to check and see kind of what we're using today for the start and the stop time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is something you can kind of play with.
Of course, yes. Yeah. And then probably the final thing I can show is just our analytics settings. So again, if you log into the camera, you're going to see the same information but presented a different way. We tried to make it very easy. So today you can configure your motion zones, everything you can read on the screen. Very shortly here, prior to our June launch, you'll see a little pencil next to these as well. And that's where you can kind of configure those events. So it's not just that I want to see people, because the cameras might see those all day long, but I might want to see people that go into a certain region or that cross over a certain line or that enter this box, right?
So you can really customize your solution to fit your needs, basically.
Yes. And then there's a few other things. We probably don't need to click into all of it, but setting up two-factor authentication, maybe you want to set up LDAP, kind of more of like the higher level org settings.
Well, honestly, Jonathan, you presented a great solution, and it's really seen in June. So I guess people will be really excited to uncover it all and start playing with it and to start working on it on their own projects. So any shout outs you would like to give before we let you go? I know you're really busy, so.
I would just say check out Hanwha Vision America website, check out YouTube and look for the Hanwha channel there. I think starting April 4th roughly, we kind of put some teaser videos out there that are really well done. And then I think we've collected some footage from the show as well, so I'd expect that to get updated.
All right, well, Jonathan, thanks again.
Thank you.
I'll see you on the next one.
Appreciate your time.